So I'm thinking about my last relationship. It's a marriage. And I find myself going through a lot of psychology stuff, trying to figure out what the heck was I doing. I've been through 2 marriages, and I can sit here and blame them. It's pretty easy to do. You know, there's a lot of glaring issues from the 2 women that I married. But it's not, that doesn't help me to say, well, it's their fault and I did nothing wrong, because that's not true at all. And also, the number one factor is I put myself in that situation. So what I'm really thinking about today is related to my second marriage. I had 2 years of sobriety, and I just got custody of my daughter, which was horrifying. Like, all of a sudden I got this kid in my house. She was 3 years old, and my mom, who I was actually speaking with at the time, we don't talk anymore. That's a whole other issue. Go back to mommy issues and daddy issues. I swear that's like the root cause of everything, and we cycle behaviors with that. But you know, there's serious issues with my mom, and always has been, and still is to this day. And go figure, that would be reflecting into or, you know, being integrated into my relationships. So, you know, along those lines, with that theme, here I am 2 years sober. My mom said, you know, you should start dating now. And I was like, yeah, that's a pretty good point. I'm barely making it financially. You know, I had a good job with a good company, but, you know, I'm making $35,000, $40,000 a year or whatever, and struggling to pay rent. You know, now I got the kid, like, you know, trying to figure out what to do with her for daycare during the day. And I mean, I'm making things work. I'm making it work, but it's, you know, it's tough. Like, every month I'm just not, you know, I'm struggling, but I'm getting by. And anyways, I met this girl, and who turned out to be my wife, you know, eventually. But she came in and just, you know, it's like we used to joke around. From the time we met, we didn't separate, like, almost every day for like 30 days. Like, so she would just come over to my house every single night, every day. And you know, to me it was a sign. Like, now it would be a glaring flag. I would handle it a lot differently today. But back then, you know, I just noticed how nice it was to have somebody helping me with my daughter, you know. And I remember her telling my daughter that she loved her, like, very prematurely, you know, within like a couple of weeks of knowing her, if that. And I thought, well, that's sweet, but it's a little weird. It's a little premature, just, you know. And now, you know, as time went on, oh my gosh, you know, there was even a time early on in our relationship where I tried to break it off with her, and I just couldn't. You know, the extent of my lack of boundaries, my codependency, my empathy. I'm an empath, I guess. You know, I'm trying to understand and relate to all this stuff. But here's the point of all this, right? 7 years later, ugly divorce, like the most vicious, horrible things you could imagine done to me from both my wives, right? They go into destroy mode. You know, they both have their reasons. I'm starting to understand it, but here's where I made the mistake. First off, I didn't have a good understanding of, you know, what a narcissist is, what toxic behavior is, like unhealthy behaviors. You know, there's just so much material out there, gaslighting, projecting, mind reading, you know, just healthy boundaries in general. Like, I didn't know any of this stuff. All I had was the relationship with my mom, which was like non-existent and toxic for the most part. There have been some periods that have been good with us and healthy, but for the most part, I just don't understand what a good relationship is with a woman. And so my drive was more of economic means. Like, I wanted to get ahead. I've always had this desire to be successful and make money and, you know, be able to provide for myself and my family and have financial freedom. I've always been fascinated with people who were successful. Like, what do they do? You know, I want to break this chain of poverty I was, you know, raised with. So, you know, for me, it just made sense. Also, 2 things. For me, my desire to save people, you know, I call myself Captain Save-A-Ho. So, like, you know, here I am trying to, like, help her, and I'm also getting help. So there's like this logical side of me going, wow, like, you know, I can help her and she can help me. So we moved in together very quickly. And, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of my logic in getting together with this woman, who turned out to be just like a disaster, you know, for psychological reasons, you know, we saw a counselor and they pointed out some very specific issues that she had, and I didn't catch it. But it was economic means. Like, it felt comforting to me to have two of us. The reality is, once we got married, she quit her job and quit school and everything else, and you know, it was good. She got to raise our, you know, we had a son, and you know, I don't regret any of it. You know, it was great. She was a stay-at-home mom, and that was awesome. But economically, I never did get ahead. But that was like a major factor in us getting together. Like, wow, we can live together. We can save money. I can help her. You know, she needed a roommate. I was going to help her financially, and it would help me with my kid and save on daycare expense. So all of these things started going through my mind, even though there was a part of me that was very reserved and kind of, you know, flags were going off, even as ill-equipped I was at the time to catch on to flags. Like, where today, I would have walked away from that relationship a long time ago. So it's going to be very tempting as you get yourself some sobriety, get into recovery, get your life together. And this can go for anybody, you know, if you're just an empath or codependent in general. When you start looking at, well, it would be nice to have somebody else to pay the bills with, or it's nice to have two incomes. You know what? That's going to backfire on you. That is not a good premise or a good foundation to build a relationship on. My belief at this point in life, I'm 43 years old, 2 marriages, I'm dating again, I'm looking at redoing all of this because it's been just torn down. Everything I've built up has been torn down from like a fiscal standpoint twice. And it's just the irony is, you know, I wanted to get ahead with both of them. I thought we can help each other and we can, you know, be this team and make money together and build a house together and build a life together, and then you can't control the other person. So it's such an important decision when you look at a partnership in your relationship. The criteria can't just be, it would be nice to have somebody else help me pay the rent or be able to buy a house with or whatever. Same thing goes with business partners. I've had business ventures with other partners that turned out to just be narcissistic lunatics. And you have to be diligent. You have to be diligent going into a partnership, a big decision like that, and the temporary reprieve from paying the bills is not gonna cut it. It's not a good reason to jump into something that a commitment that big. So focus on you. That's my advice. Like, if you're working on excellence in your life, everything will work out just fine. The money will come in. You'll pay the bills. You'll get by. You will learn how to do that on your own, and then you'll rely on yourself. You're not relying on anybody else. You will be stronger, better, and you will attract a more high-quality person down the road. That's what I'm seeing. The quality of people I'm dating now and seeing now and coming across now, they are just exponentially better than what I was you know, involving myself with before. So it's promising. Not quite, haven't arrived yet, but it's getting there. And work on yourself. That's the message. And then, you know, everything will work out when it comes to the partnerships. Okay? In time. Be patient. Thanks.